Well, hello, everybody. It's that time of the week again. It is Friday. It is 7 o'clock. It is time for the long run live stream and podcast. Hope you're all doing well and been getting plenty of exercise in. You know, the year's nearly at an end and you've got to keep plugging away. Got to get them targets. You know, it's time to get it done. How are you, Chris? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. A bit tired. I think I put it out on Instagram. I'm at that point where I'm trying to get back into it, and it's hard slog, you know. And it's, but I think I said it in the on the post. You know, there's no choice but to keep going. So yeah. You know, as you guys know, I'm still struggling along, waiting for some stuff to get sorted out in the back end. And hopefully that takes a little bit quicker than it currently is. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. We've got a great show, and more importantly, we started on time tonight, so well done. So and also we're all here.
Yeah, the band's back again.
Band's back again. We've got to give a couple of early shout outs, but before I do that, if you're on Facebook, make sure you, and thank you by the way for joining us on Facebook. Share to everybody, tell them that we're live. But remember to put the thing that Toby does in the comments to authorize so we can see who you are. And also hello to our wonderful audience on YouTube, and make sure you drop in any questions, any comments, whether it be about running, Al eating non-vegan products, Toby looking like he's about to fall asleep, or Wilco still in Middle Earth as well. So anyway, whatever you want to do, stick them in the comments. We want to hear from you as always. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, and thank you very much to everybody who's been downloading it. I've got an update in terms of what we spoke about last week. Make sure if you want to contribute to the podcast, you send us an email to Wilco.
longrunShow@gmail.com.
He nailed it. He's been practicing all week for that. Yeah, for a couple of shout outs, and we'll ask Wilco a question. Really important. First one, we've got to give a shout out to Scarlett, my Scarlett, because she's just found out she got 98% on her TAP exam. Out of 100%, so she nailed that distinction.
We'll make a plumber of her yet.
Yeah, so she's going to obviously turn into an athlete like me. And then we've got to give a shout out to Rose. Now, Mark Sloan, who was on a couple of weeks ago, he was one of our Snowdon walkers and our skyathletes. His daughter, it's her 100th park run tomorrow, and I just can't. I think Rose is now. I might get it, Toby. She's 9 or 10. I can't yet. So
people can't see you shrugging your shoulders, Toby. You have to, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We should get a researcher on this show. Would you?
Yeah, we should research some of the stuff like before we. Maybe not. It's more fun doing it this way. But anyway, big love to Rose. We're going to be along to Gunpowder Park tomorrow to celebrate Rose's 100th park run. That is an epic achievement at her
all the
age.
best,
So
Rose. Brilliant effort.
Rose. Now, quick question for you, Wilco.
Oh yeah.
Was Tuesday? How many layers were you actually wearing to running club?
Just the two. I was a bit corporate, mate. I had one of your, you know, high-vis jackets, you know, doing the rounds and a hat because it had me light on it.
Now, I haven't got, because I tried to get a picture of him, right, lads? But he was going so fast, I generally couldn't get a picture of him, right? But I've never seen. You look like a Michelin man. You know the geezer. He had so many layers on.
Well, it's just. I think it's a few more layers of Cadbury Zeros and celebrations, mate.
We'll get onto that.
Couple of weeks.
We'll get onto the weight loss. So yeah, that's our.
I've got to say that it's 18 months since we've been doing the Hartford sessions, and I think that was my worst performance in all that time. You were saying about. You know, you're feeling sluggish and all that sort of thing. Tuesday, I really was not feeling it at all.
Well, don't do yourself down.
I think it was, you know, it was. If I'd have been a footballer, you know, it's one of those where if you were a substitute, you went on, and then you'd have been substitute back off. You know, they'd have just said, "No."
Yeah, pulled you off. He weren't feeling it. But yeah, so we'll come up. We want to talk about bit of weight loss, bit of nutrition tonight, guys. So hit us up if you've got any weight loss tips, hints. Again, email them in, or anything that you like to eat, email that in. And also, we're going to be talking about mileage, yearly miles. So stick in the comments what your target was, if you had one, whether you're going to do it, if you're going to get there. We want to hear from all that sort of stuff. Al's here. He's powered by, what are you powered by tonight? Plants. Don't believe a word of it. We know that he eats non-vegan croissants. We've got the evidence. Tobe's back, and Tobe, I would say, lads, do you reckon he looks like he's about to go into a coma, or is he look a bit better this week?
He's still a bit pale. He's
a bit peaky.
Like, looking in his he looks like he's in a waiting room anyway, doesn't he? He's waiting to see the doctor.
That vampire look like he hasn't seen the sun in 2 weeks.
Well, we have to say because obviously this is an audio-based platform for us podcast listeners, and apologies. Tobe's in a room. If you've never watched it, right? Tobe's basically in what looks like a prison library. Is that fair to say? With not much lighting and mess. And he looks like he's been locked in now. And that's about it, really. So I haven't said to Tobe, because I've been watching Sue and his live podcast like we do. And they've got like these awesome rooms, like grayed out, wicked LED backlights. And then obviously you come to the real world where we are. But I said to Tobe, because he does this for a living, like production and all this, he really needs to like ledge it up. So I reckon we should get, what's that geezer? You know the bloke on the TV, that DIY SOS. What's that Trev's name? You know the geezer I mean?
Yes, we can ring him up.
Nick, right? Not your Nick. You know, Run Test is under the table now. Probably writing a review on something he's got, sent in and paid for. What was it? But we've got behind Tobe, we need to redo it. So if Nick from DIY SOS can get in touch. Oh, what's that other geezer with the curly hair? Lawrence, Llewellyn, Bowen. Sorry for everybody, by the way, who's not in the UK, has no idea what I'm talking about. Can you get in touch? Email in, what is it, Wilco?
longrunshare@gmail.com.
Because we need to pimp up the production room, right? So, again, please send in your suggestions what Toby needs to have done behind him to
this normally doesn't get seen, though. This is the whole point.
What?
I normally sit here and don't get seen. That's on my job.
No, sounds like you touched a nerve.
Yeah, it's a bit sensitive.
I'm just saying. That's
sensitive little fella, isn't he?
I always said this at the beginning. I should never be on camera.
Oh.
Then I could go to sleep.
So come on, folks. You want to see Tobe, don't you?
Yeah. Can you let us know?
Let us know. Or is there anybody out there who doesn't want to look at Toby on a Friday night starting at 7 o'clock for an hour?
People pay good money for it.
We're happy to go with public opinion, and whatever you want, we're quite happy to do it. So if we want to jock him off and put him back in the background, then
we've had some emails come in this week, which we will come on to about weight loss. But we've also had some emails in about sponsorship opportunities. They must have been listening last week. Now, I would say that I thought about most of them for about a second. Every single one of them was totally unrelated to anything that we do. So they clearly never seen anything. It's one of those. One of them wanted for us to like advertise like hairdryers.
I mean, there ain't that much hair, is there, really?
One of them wanted us to advertise some form of security network IT stuff. We just about get this show live at 7 o'clock, so they clearly have no idea. And there was another one. Was it towels? No, it wasn't that bad. It was some household product that they wanted us to advertise. So anyway, boys, I thought I'd let you know. I've obviously done you out of massive amounts of money, but I've said no to all of them. So sorry about that.
It sounds like we're in demand, though, mate.
We are in demand, and we shall not sell out like a lot of these podcasts. If we go for something, we're going to go something that's dear to our hearts. McDonald's, KFC, Skechers,
Spurs tickets,
Spurs.
Like that.
Anyway, no, we won't sell out. But if you want to pay us, get in touch via the Long Run Show website, email thing, whatever it is. Anyway, so shall we move? Oh no, I'll be whittling on. Out. Shall I tell them about it?
Your big idea.
Oh, you ready for this?
I suppose let's get it done. We can always edit it out, Tobe, if it doesn't go down too well.
No, this is good, right? So when we did Snowdon, we at the end of it said we need to have something better to do next year. Now, Ben Nevis, we are going to be going up Ben Nevis. If anybody wants to come up Ben Nevis next year in September, email in, all right? But that's going to be walk, run. It's going to be hard. You've got to go up a big hill. So whatever, right? But for us on this podcast channel, I have come up with the brilliant idea that next year, right, we travel. Now, you've got a choice because I'm good at it. We travel to Slovakia, and run across it. It's 130 miles. So we need a team of 6, and I reckon we could do it in a week. And while we're there, we could be promoting the podcast because we're going to be inundated. All our fans are going to turn up because we are the biggest running podcast in Slovakia. Or, right, not a bad shout. Or my second idea, which I think is actually better, is that we all go to Malta and we run around Malta to try and find the listener, the one listener in Malta. So we run across Malta and we find that listener, the one person that downloaded the podcast in Malta. We go to Malta and find them. So you've got a choice, boys. I don't know how big Malta is. Can somebody let me know in the
I have been.
comments? Is it big?
It was a very long time ago.
Was it illy?
I can't remember, mate. I was a kid.
Well, so we need to research this. Say, can you email in any other suggestions? But it's got to be based around basically us finding our fans. Yes.
17 miles long, 9 miles wide. Sounds perfect.
God,
17 miles long.
Yeah, that's what it says, according to
No.
Dr. Google.
Malta's got to be more than 17 miles.
It
You
ain't
get
very
about
big.
one house on it.
It
It's
ain't
got a
very
runway.
big.
Can you walk around Malta in a day? About 3 hours, it says, according to Dr. Google.
No way.
That's what it says.
Are you
And
sure?
That's from the Malta Coastal Walk Society.
Can't be. What?
Get them on.
Where'd you land?
They've got an airport.
What is it in the sea or something? Because how can you?
No, mate.
17 miles.
It would explain
Malta's
why
got
there's
to be
only
bigger.
one listener. It's that small.
It's
Right,
not a very
so-
big place.
So now, actually, percentage-wise, what you're saying is, we're massive in Malta.
Yeah,
Because if they've
as a
only got about 3
percentage.
people living there,
Yeah, if we're talking about reach,
yeah, we're massive in Malta.
our reach is deep in Malta.
I think then, basically, what we're saying is, boys, we're thinking Malta next year. We run across Malta to find our listener.
Unless they say, hello, I'm your
Yeah.
Maltese listener.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so they're my
And then
two
we
ideas.
just pop over there and go and see them.
Yeah, I think they're
Do it
brilliant.
live
So,
from their house.
there you go. So that's what we're doing next year. Live from Malta. Tune in. We're going to be there podcasting and live streaming. Anyway, shall we move on? What do you want to talk about first? Weight loss or goals for mileage?
I thought we would first just give a little plug about where you went this week, about the your little trip around London, you boys.
Oh, yeah, that was last night. Yeah, we had a great time. When it warm now, Al?
Well, it certainly wasn't 3 layers.
No.
Ian, you'd have sweated. You'd have been in your shorts and t-shirts.
If you
just like
18 layers that you had on Tuesday night at Wilco, you'd have melted.
Yeah, it was warm.
It was.
We had to strip off outside Buck House.
Yeah,
Honestly.
that was the funniest thing. I was getting
You got
naked
no
outside
chain.
Buck Pal.
You get locked in the
It's not an
tower,
outfit.
mate.
Huh?
How
Tobe?
things to strip off anywhere. Top
Ours
of
got, like,
mountains.
Ours
Doesn't
is stripped
require
anywhere.
much, does it, Tobe? Any excuse to get my
It's
kit on.
becoming a bit of a recurring theme, Alan taking
Yeah.
his clothes off.
But
on the middle
honestly,
of a run,
we
isn't it?
was outside the gates of Buck Pal, right? The lights are on. Lizzie was home. The flag was up. Al is stripping down. There was nobody around. This was about
Oh,
8 o'clock or something, 9
the
o'clock.
poor
I can't
woman's
remember
not in the best of health, Al.
what it was. I know. It's
Just want
going
to
to
give us
shock her
something
to
to look
death.
forward to.
There'll be.
Give her a bit of a boost.
Can't. Al, this is
Oh, to be
treason.
knocking on my door, taking me away to the tower.
This is treason. So yeah, so we had a great run round. It was great fun. And the
Where'd you
route,
go?
so we started off at Covent Garden because they got all the tree up and that now. So it was feeling a bit festive. And then we headed out. We had a right shocker. We hit Frozen when that emptied. So we had a bit of a shocker there. So there was all these 5-year-olds singing Let It Go. And then I started singing that as well. And then we headed down to Strand, along there, mucks about, Trafalgar, back Lizzie's house. Al nearly got arrested. Harrods weren't allowed in there.
Couldn't get into Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, and then back round to Winter Wonderland. They wouldn't let us in there either.
So that's at Hyde Park, isn't it?
Yeah, through that. Mind you, it does look good. And then basically Oxford Street, Bond Street, Regent Street, Carnaby Street, Leicester Square, Covent Garden, job done.
So people
Great.
are all signed up for this. How long is it going to take them then to? How far they got to go to?
Well, we did a 10K route. And if anybody wants to do the route just on their own, just get it off my Strava because it's a great route. I said to Al, I might just take the camera up there and do one of our virtual runs that we stick on the channel because it really was a good run. And then, but we're going to do a 5K route as well, so that'd be good. Be good fun. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think we're sold out now, to be honest. But thanks for the plug.
Well, no, I mean it's not a plug just for people to sign up. Obviously, people will be looking forward to it. It's a big
Yeah, no, it'd be good fun.
thing, and
We're
it's
really
something
looking
that
forward to it.
you don't have to. You can just go and have a good time. You ain't got to stress about your fueling strategy and all
Just
your
go and have a laugh. That's what it's all about. It's just having a bit of festive
splits and all that
festive
sort of
fun.
business. You can just go and have a good time.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So no, it was good. It was really good. I think we got back about just 10 o'clock, something like that. And
way past my bedtime.
way past the hour's
That's why I'm
bedtime.
looking tired and gaunt. And
Yeah. The home were after him. But
Yeah,
I
you want
did
a bacon
speak.
sandwich or something? That'll cheer you up, mate.
Yeah, no, he's not allowed to say yes then, but he did. What's going on
So
with
good.
Toby Barnett? Hang on, important question. What's going on with Toby Barnett? You know what, Samuel? I totally agree. He looks like an absolute, I don't know. What does he look? Melt, I think is the right word. With that
It's
Barnett.
grown a
I mean,
lot.
I can talk. Mine's longer than
rocking
that.
the sort of Phil Foden look the other week. It was quite a tight crop, wasn't it?
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, he came. He was. What was it the other week? He shaved it off. He went for the buzz cut. That was for Snowden. That's when he went up and down like a mountain goat. Yeah. You need to sort your Barnett out, Toby. They're hammering you for your Barnett.
Winter, letting it grow, isn't it?
No, don't let it grow. Please
Right.
don't.
This is like wear a cap to hide it, like
No, I have to because I've not
Indoor.
been. I was meant to go last week, but
It's-
because someone was sick, I had to do other things.
Who was that?
Oh,
Who was that?
I don't know. But in all seriousness, are you feeling better? Because we have had people asking.
I'm feeling better. Yeah, thanks.
Bless him. He was proper rough, people. He didn't have COVID, but he was proper rough. Right, let's get rid of that. Right, so should we crack on with what do you want to do? Weight loss or mileage?
weight loss.
Weight loss. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Always want to do weight loss, mate.
Well, look, we want, as always, we're going to keep this light-hearted. And next week, I think it's next week's vlog. This week's vlog is the Remembrance Run. Next week's vlog is all about how the changes that I'm making and what I'm doing. So look out for that one. That's about all the personal stuff that I'm doing, right? Because I think with anything with weight loss, it's all about, what works for you, right? And just as a disclaimer, right, it may shock some of you. None of us really are qualified to talk about any of this stuff in terms of nutrition. Al's probably the most qualified for his PT stuff, but he's still not qualified. Everything that we do, I do, is off our own experiences, off our own back. So what we're going to say is what is the stuff we're doing. And also, if you are planning on making, guys, and this is a serious comment, if you are planning on making any dramatic change or any changes to your lifestyle that impact, whether it's increased mileage, changing your diet, whatever you do, it is worth speaking to your doctor. All right. Because you don't know. Okay. So just one serious bit out of 59 minutes is not bad. So just please check with your doc if you're going to do anything silly like that. But anyway, put that aside. So it leads nicely because next week I say I'm talking about what I'm doing. But Vegetable Al, who was about 3 seconds before we went online, was drinking what? What's that? Look at it. Look.
So I'm 2 weeks into my juicing regime. So that one there blitzed this morning. So it's getting a little bit fruity now. It's starting to ferment. Is it fermentate? That doesn't sound right. Ferment. That sounds better.
Ferment.
It's
I'm thick.
Cow, apple, mango, some blueberries, bit of cranberry juice to give it some liquid, and some ginger to give it a bit of kick. So I'm starting every day now with a couple of shots of this, and it certainly wakes you up, if nothing else.
We were touching upon this last week, weren't we? That this is not a sort of slim fast style replacement shake that's replacing your meals. It's a sort of, it's a supplementary thing that goes along with your regular eating patterns.
Yeah, so this is just an opportunity to get away from eating too much processed food, because you can be an unhealthy vegan if you shop in Greggs, you shop in Costa's with their no oink BAP, you can still eat pretty bad. So this is a chance for me to really kind of up the intake in terms of whole foods. And we all like our orange juice, and a lot of those are concentrates. This is an opportunity to get it, literally fresh from the store. So, and it's a good way to get in your 5 a day. It's a good way to get in your leafy greens. And actually, it's not as expensive as it sounds. So I went out shopping 2 weeks ago, piled on the bananas, piled on the mangoes, the blueberries, and I haven't had to go shopping since. Just piled it all in the freezer, so it's nice and chilled every morning. Off you go. Jobs are good, and
So-
I'm
so
really
you-
enjoying it.
So
Sorry,
when,
Will, go.
when you've gone into this, so like you're 2 weeks down the line,
Yeah.
but what you've done, because obviously it's a lot of fresh ingredients and lots of, you have a lot of kale, spinach, stuff like that is not going to last a week in your fridge. So you get it all in, and then you have a big session of doing all the stuff.
Yeah, so I prepped it. Everything went into little freezer bags in the freezer. So you're gonna make it last a fortnight. You portion it up. It's cool. It's frozen, so you don't have to. I don't add any ice cubes or anything. It's just ready to go because it's all frozen. So
And
thanks to my sponsor for the idea.
you've done that for 2 weeks now, did you say?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you? Obviously, I think it takes a while for the weight to start. I mean, I've been doing what I'm going to call my diet again. The video will come out, and I reckon it's dropped like 0.0% or something, because that first week, the first 2 weeks, it's hard to see that much of a change, and obviously you've got a lot of water retention. A problem I've got is the tablets I'm on at the moment. They do increase your water levels, and so that makes you feel like you're heavier than you actually are. But have you noticed any difference in not necessarily the weight, but how you're feeling?
So, first thing is, I'm not a regular jumper on the scales. I used to obsess about it when I was going seriously for weight loss. Every day it was, have I lost an ounce? Have I lost an ounce? It does your head in. As you know, Chris, my running in the second half of the year is not as being on point, and we'll touch on that probably later as it has at the start. And I was expecting to kind of put on half a stone. I did jump on the scales this time, and I hadn't put on any weight. More importantly, I just feel more energized. So, yeah. So part of the reason for doing it was trying to find a way to kickstart a bit of motivation, kickstart a bit of energy into the running. I'm a Hanson runner. I run 6 days a week when I'm on plan. I've been going weeks with barely managing 1 or 2 runs a week. So it was a combination of doing something to feel good, something to give me a bit of motivation, and if there's a bit of weight loss at the end of it, then that's a bit of a Brucey bonus, to be honest. So, but I just feel good. I look forward to that juice up every morning. It's quite exciting because I don't know what's going to go in the mix. So
would you say that's a good tip? So, firstly, to help get that in is creating something, I suppose, is part of.
So I think for me, what it's doing is it's giving you your nutrition. Because I'm juicing it, you're also getting the fiber and all that goodness. And from a nutritional point of view, whilst you can get most of the nutrition from either supplements or other sources, it is the extra fiber that kind of makes it low GI, that makes it long lasting. It will help you fill up. So it will kind of, one thing I have noticed, I've significantly stopped snacking late morning and early afternoon. So I think, could be that, or it could be just that I've just got a different approach mentally now. And sometimes you can't separate out all the different variables, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking to invest. I've got to go up from NutriBullet to Vitamix. Quick plug there if anyone's looking to sponsor me.
Sponsors, but get involved. Email us. What's the email, Wilco?
longrunshirtgmail.com.
He's finally got it. Episode 20, whatever it is, he's got it.
Yeah, I would vouch for a NutriBullet. They are a great bit of kit. So you can sort of like get yourself together and get yourself organised to make these sort of drinks. So it's very simple. I'm no Ainsley Harriott in the kitchen, but it is literally just bung everything in and give it a whiz and it's done. So that's handy. Chris, can you just sort of like, I mean, it sounds like a really obvious question, but can you just sort of like highlight what benefits a bit of weight loss will have on your running and your performance, if you can?
First, I'll touch on it in a second, because I was out coaching this morning, and we actually touched on food and things like that and diet. The benefits, I think, are obvious in terms of energy levels and just overall mental health, mental awareness, performance, all that kind of stuff. I think Al actually was mucking about a bit the other week, but with Toby and his Porsche, what you're putting in is how the performance works. A lot of it does come down to what's going on upstairs. If you're lighter, it's going to help you. But I think I say more than anything else, it's that mental framework in which you're working in terms of overall feel and where you're progressing, because I think it does help.
Yeah, and you'll perhaps feel. I mean, I had a bit of, I put a little bit back on now, but sort of 12 months ago, I lost quite a bit and found that my times are really coming down. And then you just perhaps you feel more confident when you're out running that you can attain these things and you're going in the right direction. And
absolutely.
You see a bit of progress, and it's all sort of married together, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It is married together. It's the whole process. It's, if you're looking to get fit, you need to chat. You need to look at your diet. If you're looking to change your diet, and do it that way, you also need to look at what your exercise is. So the two go hand in hand, and the point at the top is what's going on up here, and it is that whole process of putting it together. And that's why I say, if you are looking to do change, exercise or diet, always speak to your doctor, because one will have a byproduct of the other. Do you see what I mean? Now, just to come back to what I was saying, and I lost 4 stone in 6 months years ago. And I did that through little changes, but they were significant in terms of the timing of when I was eating and what I was eating at those times. So obviously I cut out a lot of the rubbish, which is what I've gone back doing now. But it was more about being precise with what I was eating and when I was eating it, and putting in. So I'll give you an example: breakfast, porridge, and a cup of coffee. Within that porridge, some form of fruit, whatever, blueberry, whatever, chuck something in there. But that was basically oats, so it's slow burning fuel that would carry me through the morning. Through that morning, I would drink a load of water and maybe some form of herbal tea to suppress the appetite. Lunch would be a carby based lunch, not massive. So whether that be pasta or ideally something a little bit freshly cooked. So I was working in the city at the time, and I would go down and I'd get something that just been made by somebody. So it wasn't just some microwave tut that somebody just pulled out of their rear end in some dodgy backstreet cafe that Toby would eat. I would then, about 3 o'clock, I'd always have a cup of coffee, banana and a biscuit, because chances are I was running home. And then I would not eat after 6 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock by the time I got home. And that would be a protein-based food, but like some lean meat, turkey or something like that, chucked in with some veg. And that was it. And then in the evening, to suppress the appetite again, I'd have a herbal tea. And that was me, because of the way I'm built in, the way my brain works. That was me every day, 7 days a week. So, and by doing that, by keeping the portion levels to a reasonable size, but enough to fuel my runs, the weight just, because I was running, it just, I said, 4 stone, 6 months. It just fell off me. And then I got to the point in which I dropped too much. You asked Nick, it actually dropped too much and I looked ill. So then I put it back on and found that happy medium. Now I've gone through that happy medium. I've put on about 1.5 stones too much that I wanted. So I take 0.5 stone off because of the medication that I'm having to take. But so I put 1 stone. I always put on about 0.5 stone through marathon training. Always. I'm one of those because I eat more than I need to. So, but I actually topped out. I went too big, and I blame Toby for that and his addiction to KFC, and I followed suit. So that's what I did years ago. This was, and I'm not saying that's what you should do, but it may give you food for thought. See what I did there, boys? About possible change you could do about not eating so late. Now it's difficult, and one of the reasons why I put the weight on is because, as I said in previous podcasts, I work from 8 till 8 every day, right? So I'm getting home after 8 o'clock. When do you eat? You know what I mean? And then you just find yourself sitting there. You're tired because you're exhausted because you're working 7 days a week, 8 till 8. So your body's craving sugar and processed rubbish to keep you going, to keep you alive. So you just snack, and then you get into that habit. With my addictive personality, I'll then have 8 bags of crisps because I can't have one, or I'll have a whole pack of crisps, a whole pack of biscuits because I can't have one. And then that's the rabbit hole that you go down. So as soon as you can train out of that mentality and switch out of that process, the body's an amazing thing. The brain is an amazing thing. It will learn, it will teach itself to go back to what it's used to doing. And that's where the process starts, along with your exercise. and then you're winning. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you do need to have both. I mean, when I sort of I first got into running, I wasn't losing much weight at all because I was sort of, I would. People often make the case of, oh yeah, people who go to the gym sort of, oh, that's great, I can have that donut now because I've burnt it off in the gym and things like that. Because people, I think the phrase was that you can't outrun a bad diet because,
That's
I would
exactly
go out. Yeah, I'd go out and run 10K just like on a training run, and then come home and eat half a tube of Pringles.
Yeah,
And
because you
it's
think
no
you can
good.
justify it.
Well,
Yeah,
not necessarily. It was just the way it was. I wasn't marrying them together.
No.
And I think it's quite interesting now that with the changes, particularly in sort of working patterns now, I was at that time, I was working in London 5 days a week. It was pret-a-manger for lunch or sandwich in Waitrose, all that sort of business. But now I'm working from home most of the week. So that can perhaps help in what you're preparing. Perhaps you can think a bit more about what you're going to be able to have, and you can actually, well, I've got 10 minutes. I'm not walking, dashing out to thing. I can do something, make myself something, and perhaps look at healthier alternatives.
Well,
it might be a little bit easier. I don't know. I'm no advert. I'm no Slim Jim 2021. I'm no real advert for this sort of thing. But I would imagine that could be something that could actually help people if they're looking in that direction. The fact that they're going to have a little bit more flexibility if they're at home.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I think one positive with this pandemic that we're still going through by the sounds of things is that people are at home more. So I think those lifestyle changes that you might have made when you was at home and then you went back to work, whatever, hopefully you can keep some of that up, because like working from home is, you got work, got commitments, but it's probably a little bit easier to get some form of goodness in you. If January the 1st is coming and you're thinking, right, this is me, I'm going to start having this off in terms of my diet change, blah, 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 then it's going to be made easier if you're at home, right? Because you can go to the freezer and get some frozen fruit out and mix that up like our does in his vegan NutriBullet thing. And you can, mix stuff up or make a decent lunch, lean chicken with some pasta and some like other stuff chucked in it, whatever. Yeah. It hopefully will make that whole process a little bit easier.
Yeah. If the Tesco man comes on a Thursday and he's doing you a delivery, then you can plan your whole food a week in advance. And
exactly.
There it is. And if you've not, I sound like, everybody look and think, oh God, he's not practicing what he preaches and everything. But another thing I've heard is if it's not in the house, you're not going to eat it.
No, exactly. You're going to search it out, and so it's yeah. So that's, I think, Tobe, have you got anything to add? I mean, all I would say, right, I'm going to put this out there. If anybody's heard of the Speed Goat diet, boys, have you heard of the Speed Goat diet?
Very much not.
The Speed Goat diet is this, and the Speed Goat diet comes from a man who ran up a mountain and back down in 1 hour 48 minutes in shorts, who has been consistently eating and proven that eating KFC, Burger King, £20 worth of McDonald's, Starbucks, cakes, amazing fish and chips, shout out to them. Mate, if you eat that consistently over a 20-week period, you can run up and down a mountain in 1 hour 48 minutes. It's proven, the Speed Goat diet. So don't necessarily listen to all this stuff about healthy eating, NutriBullets, going vegan and all this. Just do what the Speed Goat does and eat rubbish and run up and down a mountain in 1 hour and 48 minutes. So I must apologise.
Maybe we can get a deal with the amazing fish and chip shop. Sounds good.
I'd love to get. I've got to say, I've got a big shout out to them. Right, they do this chicken burger. This was before last week. Right, they do a chicken burger. Toad went wrong. I sent him down. He went wrong. He went. It's chicken. Right. Sorry to all the listeners. Chicken. Right. Lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and cheese. Out. This is like for you. Even though you say you won't eat, I know you will. But Toad made the big mistake. He went chicken, lettuce, sacked the tomato off, and no cheese. Why would you do that? But the kicker, you've got to have the chaser, boys. If you're going to do it, if you're going to do the nasing burger, and that's a battered sausage, you've got to have the chaser. You can't go nasing fish and chip shop and not have a battered sausage chaser.
I might have to turn for 24 hours just to try it.
So let's know in the comments, have you been to Nazing Fish and Chip Shop? Probably not. Right, so I'm seeing loads of questions, boys, and loads of comments. We should actually get onto some of these.
Yeah,
and
what
thanks
we got,
again,
Al?
everybody, for
Yeah,
you know.
we've got a mix. I'll save some of the mileage ones for later because I think we're going to cover that.
Yeah, we better crack on as well. It's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, but Billy Chapman, YouTuber, he's asking me about my smoothies. No, this is in addition to my normal breakfast. So I'd normally have a bit of granola, vegan yogurt, very good from Alpro.
Can we
and,
check that?
Yeah, big pile of blueberries. So I'm making a 700 milliliter smoothie, and I'm taking that 2 or 3 times during the day. And I think that's what's key to me not snacking. Pre-race, I haven't tried it yet. So what the consequences are on race day, we're yet to find out.
Why don't you try it before part run tomorrow, Al? Because then I'm filming
Ooh.
tomorrow. So if it goes tits up, I'll film it and we'll see it. It'll be live on YouTube.
I've set my alarm for 20 minutes earlier just to get a good dose of spinach and kale in me before we meet up with Rose. So sorry, Mark, if it all goes horribly wrong on Rose's big day,
He does a Toby. He'll do a Toby, won't he?
Yeah. Darren Murley, he's asking us, do we eat before we run? And I think that cuts into something JBS raised about intermittent fasting, which is the posh name for what you described, Chris, as not eating after 6 o'clock at night. So what's their views about that? Me, I'm a mix. I'd probably run without eating 7 out of 10 times because I normally like to go early. But weekends sometimes, yeah, particularly on race day, definitely fuel up before a run. But
I'd always fuel up before a run, and if I was doing a long run of 12 miles plus. Otherwise, I just go out.
Yeah, I'm a long run. I do fuel now because long run we're usually into marathon training, so there'll be elements of pace. I want to be able to maximize what I'm doing. That said, I will run 13 miles, not effectively fasted. I'm not too bothered. I think anything over 13 miles, but that is at easy pace. So I won't fuel up, but I do. If I do fuel up, it's 3 hours beforehand. My runs, I don't tend to run in the morning anymore. I turn and run about mid-morning. So I've had my breakfast at like 8, and then I'm out running. But I will run fasted. I have done up to 30 miles, but you've got to make sure that it works for you because it's not for everybody running fasted. But again, everyone has troubles with with stomachs. If you've got IBS or if you've got you're lactose intolerant and you have something that flares you up or something like that. So I think everybody is each to their own. One thing I would recommend, actually, and this is a serious point, is not to have a double quarter pounder with cheese before you then go and do a club run. Toby, you could probably concur on that, right?
If that was all it was, it probably might have been all right.
Have you got any evidence? What is it? Anyway, so we can't recommend McDonald's an hour and a half before a speed session. That's one bit of a value advice, I think.
So there's one thing you want to take away from listening to this podcast or watching this live stream.
Yes.
What about the ice cream though?
Oh yeah, we did do that as well. We had ice cream before. That wasn't good either. Again, it's part of the Speed Goat diet, people. If you want to get part of the Speed Goat diet, that's what you got to be doing.
I've got to say, this is a fantastic service that these two are doing for you, folks. That they are going out and trying out all these things.
Yeah.
So giving you the results. Yeah. So you don't have to have a bacon double cheeseburger and chips before you go out or an ice cream because you know what's going to happen because the boys have done it and they've been there.
Taking one for the team. For all those people in Malta and Japan, we've done it for you. So don't worry. Just, don't worry. Right, Al, what else have we got? Because there's loads of comments coming through. And thanks again, everybody.
Paul Lewis, he was on earlier. He's from the US. We don't know where, Paul, so tell us whereabouts. And congratulations on being ahead on your 2021 miles target. But he's a fan of ramen noodles before a run! ! Exclamation mark. So interesting to see whether that's got tofu in or not, or whether that's chicken. So
no, it doesn't always have to be about bleeding.
I'd just like to know what the alternative is.
I think vegan runners should sponsor this podcast.
No, I don't think they listen.
Yeah, but they could be some vegan runners, right, in Lithuania who listen. Al.
Yeah. We've had feedback from our man JBS. He says the Speed Goat diet is really only targeting the under 35s.
So, I concur. 100% concur with that.
And I know on a more serious point, I know JBS is a fan of the drink supplement Huel, which I don't know if you're going to be doing a podcast at some point later on this vlog about this, or whether you want to share your experiences on banana.
No, we'll leave that there. I think for now on that,
Okay.
we'll leave that there. Jury's out on that.
Cool.
We probably want to push on a little bit now, don't we? Because we were going to talk about mileage, and we've sold the idea that we're going to talk about it. So we all
hang on. I've just seen some actual proper questions coming in as well. From John Channon, Tobe, have a look at that one. Al, come back to that one. There was another one. There's a Sam Lux has got a serious question, so let's get them done as well. Also, before we get into mileage, I've got to give one shout out. We won't get time to read the email. I'll have to come on the email special. I love this name. Chunky Monkey has sent in an email out, and we've got to give a shout out to Hayden as well, friend of the show. But Chunky Monkey, I won't go into the email. We'll come on to it in an email special. But from the rainforests of Brazil, we've got our South America listener, people. If you didn't listen to last week's South America, we wasn't existing. So we've now covered and conquered South America. It's Africa we need to find a listener. And we've got to give a shout out to Hayden Harbord, who reckons the easiest way to lose weight, apparently, is to run a marathon dressed as a panda. He lost 1 stone, 14 pounds. No, he lost 1 stone, which is 14
1 stone
pounds.
is 14.
Yeah, so he lost the whole stone, so dressed as a panda. So people don't necessarily change your diet. Just dress up as a panda and do.
Yeah, get yourself some fancy dress kit, and you're laughing.
So, but I think we'll come back. Should we come back to those questions at the end? And then let's do mileage. Let's hit that because we did promise. We've got to deliver what we promised, boys.
Yeah.
Like, when we run around Malta. We've got
everyone's taking, they've got a few more weeks to go to do their mileage targets. Do you, is this something you do, Chris?
No, no, it wasn't. And then Al got me into it and then the thing is, right, Al, being a Hanson runner, let us know in the comments if you're a Hanson runner. He does about, 6 million miles a year. And because he's running and then you just basically get proper gel with it. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, he's doing that many miles. How many miles am I actually doing? And it did get me, it did start a process a year or two ago to start looking at it. But that said, I don't set myself targets. I look at the figures, but I don't set myself targets because I'm not a high mileage runner. Right. There's different ways to tackle these things, right? You can be a high mileage runner, or you can, train a little bit lighter, but do more intensive work. Do you see what I mean? It depends in which you go. And all the ways, they all work, by the way. Okay. It's whatever works for you. But I've always responded to, sort of lower miles. A lot of that's down to time restriction as well. But being able to make sure they're concentrated in quality efforts. So there's no junk miles is probably the way. So my annual miles is lower than what you'd probably assume. So I ran a 3:48, whatever it was, a marathon in April, but I did that on relatively low mileage because I ran consistently, but I ran specifically on certain runs. That said, I'm planning on changing it up a little bit and changing it to see what would happen if I did more miles. So there's two schools of thought. Now, Tobe, I apologise now for the podcast listeners because I've got Tobe. We saw this on the train last night, me and Al. Put it up on the screen. I'll explain it because I got this off of Garmin because Alan showed me this. Now, what I've put up is a graph of my mileage over the year. And what it shows to the guys on the podcast is that there's 2 big clumps where there's high spikes. And that is basically my 2 marathon training blocks throughout the year, which is quite interesting.
This is just to explain to everybody who can't see it. This is the bar chart that you get on your normal Garmin, with your monthly tallies of each that you've done each month. So,
and this is
I'm
annualized.
sure everybody who's got a Garmin will be familiar with that.
Exactly. There's a function on there. What I'm going to explain at the start of this is relatively mild. It peaks up in the middle and then it drops down once the marathon's done. The miles then go up again. Again, the bar charts increase on the picture. They stay pretty consistent and then they drop down again. So it clearly shows, and I'll put it up on Instagram if you're following me on Instagram. So anybody who's listening, it's there, isn't it, boys? You can see it, the 2 training blocks. But what's interesting as in the third bar at the end, you can see where my mileage, the two bars at the end, my mileage is a lot lower because of the medical problems I had, which is what affected me in London, because those should have been a lot higher. So that's where I had to take effectively 4 to 6 weeks off. That's that's the impact there. But you hopefully can clearly see anybody watching this on the video or whatever. You can see clearly the two train blocks. Take it down, Toe. So what I'm trying to say to you is, on my mileage, I don't look at the targets, but I'm looking at each training block to be of a certain quality. Now, if you put Alan's up, which we don't have, normally with Alan's, it would. Alan, how many? I mean, what, 2,000 miles a year?
So yeah, working on the basis of like you doing 2 marathon blocks, I would be normally targeting around about 2,200 miles a year, because each 18-week block will do 800 miles plus, and then you've still got a third of the year to go. This year I haven't been quite as on it. I had a down period in the summer because of mental health issues, and I haven't really got back on it. So I'm probably only going to hit 1,600 miles, and that'll be the lowest volume I've done in the last 4 years, because 2,000 plus is normally where I'm looking to go, 150, 160 miles a month. But that's because I'm a handsome man. I like to run 6 days a week. I get itchy feet literally if I'm sitting still too long. So as Chris says, it's horses for courses, literally.
My graph was quite interesting in the last 12. Well, the last sort of probably since the start of lockdown, I didn't do a month where I didn't run at least 200 kilometers.
Yeah.
Even sometimes 200.5 kilometers. So I'd make sure on the last day that I got over the line and did enough. And it's only in the 4 weeks that since I did my marathon in Yorkshire that I've dropped right down and not even thought about doing. It was always sort of like, right, I'll get the Garmin challenge, Strava, 200 kilometers a month. That's what I'll do. And sometimes I did 240, 250. I think the most I did one month was 280. But mine is, so if you looked at my graph for the last, probably since lockdown, for the first lockdown, sort of like April, May last year, it's virtually constant. It's almost exactly the same for every month within about 3 or 4 kilometers, because I just got into that habit of running a certain distance. So consequently, my target at the start of the year was to run 2,400 kilometers. So, 1,500 miles or whatever. So that's always, and I think I'm about 50 ahead of that. I've got about 230 to go. So I'll probably do, I've got another 2 weeks. I've got 6 weeks to go. I'll probably pick up again now that I'm getting that post-marathon thing out of my system. I'll probably pick up again over the next few weeks. And it just helped me I think it helped me in some respects to keep going. And I always had at least one half marathon, even in a training session, for every sort of like once every 18 months. But I think the trouble is that sometimes you can get too ingrained in it for too, it can take over a little bit, which is why I've always shied away from the streaks and the run every day thing, because I know what will happen, that I'll do it for a certain period of time. I think it's 66 days or something. You have to do something before it becomes a habit. And I think if I did it and carried on going, then I would do it for the wrong reasons. I would go out to think, oh God, I've got to run a mile today because I've got to keep my streak going. And I don't think that would work for me mentally, and I wouldn't get as much out of it. I know people do. I know people like Ian Wilson and Chloe have done massive streaks and really thrive on it, but it's not for me.
Are you going to set yourself a fresh target? I don't know what the number is, because we'll come on to another cast maybe, but are you going to set yourself another target for next year, or based on what you're saying that you enjoyed it, would you maintain the same level, or would you look to increase it?
Well, I did. My running did increase in the last sort of 18 months compared to the 18 months before. There were lots of, if you go back 2 or 3 years, there's some months where I've been out 3 or 4 times, not done much at all. And it was sort of like, it did kick on another level when we were all locked up. So I wouldn't be going much madder, but just because of the amount of time that I can get in and what I can do.
It is time. I know. Toe.
Everyone's different. I mean, that's the whole thing with the whole running thing. Everyone's different. Everybody can adapt, and there's no right or wrong. It's whatever suits you. And I don't find that I need, because of the last 4 weeks, I've now got out of that. I've got to run 200 kilometers a month. Now it does seem like a fresh start, and I'll think about turning the year. Okay, what do I want to do? I'm going to have 2 marathons next year. I've got Edinburgh and, well, if I don't get in the ballot for London, I've got a place at Frankfurt, so I'll probably take that. So having a 2 marathon thing, that will affect things anyway, because I'll be following a plan and going on from there. So yeah, we'll just wait and see.
What about you, Toad? Because I mean, apart from the last couple of weeks, where obviously it's not obvious, but you've come back effectively from lockdown. Your business has picked back up again. You've sacked off your mates. You've been eating terribly, so your mileage has dropped. But your general mileage is what, roughly?
I got no idea. Funny if I was just looking at my graph now, because I've done my
Well prepared as always.
I've done my research, and actually, I'm actually quite surprised at how high it is. I mean, December, January, February, March, April, all over 100 miles.
Right.
A month. Dropped in May, but as you say, we did that April marathon.
Yeah.
May's the drop. June, July, August, again, all over 100. September, October, dropped down to about 70, 80 miles. And I was actually quite surprised about that.
Yeah, because you never seem to be running. You always seem to be working or eating.
Yeah, normally combining the two, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, yeah, to be fair.
Of doing that.
Yeah, he's quite proud of that. So, a question to you then, Toe, and it's you and I have got to sit down and go through our plan for April. But are you looking to increase your mileage next year, or are you looking to just hold where you are and see what happens and hope for the best?
I reckon I'm looking to increase it.
Yeah.
I think and I know we've touched on it before on various things, is my weekend stuff's all right. It's my midweeks. That's where I drop.
I remember you making a point in a video, weren't you? One of your videos when you were doing your training, you boys were saying, we're doing a lot of sort of 5 miles in the week, and really we want to be pushing on a bit and doing sort of like more sort of 9, 10 miles.
Yeah. That's where it'll come. Is we're looking at it's increasing those, and I said it in the video, from what we learned from London training, was that we both missed out on that 6 or 7 miler of medium effort lactate threshold running, and then we missed out on the goal pace running over like 4 or 5 miles that you need to increase. And if you're going to run a target, you need to put those threshold runs in, and you need to be putting goal pace efforts into your run, but not just like 3 or 4 miles, because that's great and it's good at the start of a plan. But when you're building into a plan, and if you're gunning for a target, if you've not done that work and you get to mile 20, it will turn around and kick you in the butt. And it did. Tobe and I got there. We was on 3:45 pace, or whatever it was, Tobe, or 3:50. I can't remember. It was there or thereabouts. 50. I mean, I had to stop anyway, because otherwise, Lynn would have grasped me up to my doctor, like she did anyway. Hello, Lynn. And Tobe, you said yourself, you were struggling at mile 23 or whatever it was, and it showed up that lack of miles from the training. A friend of mine who's an ex-marathon runner, doesn't do it anymore. He's too old, a bit like Al. He said that when he was like hitting 3:20, 3:30 marathons, he was putting big miles in the week, like big, not like some of these elite nutters, that's all their full-time job is, but he was putting in some proper miles. And that's how he felt, how he got down to become good for age and all that sort of stuff, is because he just said, right, I'm going to dedicate myself this year to really, really pushing up the miles. And he was running big miles, and it worked for him. But it depends what you're doing it for, right? And and we always come back to it. It's whatever your reason is. It doesn't matter, right? If you're running once a week and you're achieving what you want to achieve, you're getting off that couch. If you're getting out there because you want to clear your head, you've got some struggles at work or in life, whatever, and you're able to lace up and go out and just jog around the block, and that's done you, well, good for you, right? So it doesn't matter where you're at. No, this is not a competition, and it drives me nuts when I get nailed to pieces on YouTube about some of the stuff. I don't run enough. I'm not fast enough. What was it some geezer said the other day? Something about jogging or something, or whatever it was. My pace got absolutely. And I said to him, "Are you like, do you get far enough being rude to people that you don't know?" It's funny, they never respond. But everybody's different is the point. Just because I'm running at a certain pace doesn't mean nothing. So do whatever you want to do and get the enjoyment out of the reason why you run, for the exact reason why you do it. And it doesn't. We talk about mileage. Does it really matter? No.
Yeah.
If you want to,
having said that, if you want the thing about, and this is where the community comes in, great, because if you've got a particular target or you want to do something, there will be someone who's done it before. There's no original things. Everybody's done it, and this is where the community comes in great, because you can get on Facebook, tap people's brains. What do you think? What's it? Because I mean, Chris, you've already, you've shown this yourself. You just said you're in contact with a guy who used to run 3.5-hour marathons, and you know what what you not what you have to do, but what you can try if you want to move up to that next level.
Yeah, and that's why I said about increasing the miles.
If you've got the ambition to go up to the next level, you can sort of like follow other people. Don't be worried about not comparing yourself to other people is a different thing, but you can use them as a. I mean, I always think about, and I've said this before. I always use Petra as an example. That we go.
New Petra.
Who smashed it out of the park. But like, she's somebody who runs a bit faster than me and has attained so many great targets this year that it becomes, you think, well, what can I do to do that? You don't worry about it. You just think, what's she doing? What are other people doing that, what could I do? What could I, just little things that I could, little tips and bits and bobs that I could.
It's like what I said. It's like what we said at the start of this. I was talking to Alan about his miles because of where he does the Hansen plan and the benefit that Alan gets out of doing those miles. Is there something I can learn from that? Yeah, my friend said, I think actually, to be honest, I think he was lower than that, Chris. I might be doing him a disservice. I think he was about a 3:05 London finish.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's more about tapping up to see, if you're on the right train of thought. Maybe you heard something. Is that right? Do you not agree? What do you think about this? I mean, going back to what we was talking about originally about diet, and Al will know this because I badgered him for about 2 weeks about it. Is this the right thing? Is this not the right thing? Is it, and that's the great thing, as you say, about this community. You have friends, you meet people, and they've all got. There's probably professional people within the Facebook community. If you've not joined that, Tobe, put it up. The link to it. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, get over to Facebook and join 40 Rounds Running Community. Good plug, lads. But you meet people and you interact with people, you make friends and whatever. But you're absolutely right, Wilco. You can bounce stuff off of people and hear what, and you might think, actually, that's not bad. I might try that.
And I think you should be receptive and open-minded about things. Go and have a look at, watch videos, watch stuff, read books. Have a look at, have a think of stuff, and just try and take in as much as you can. And don't
listen to the long run.
I'm not doing that. Just be open-minded and give stuff a go, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I say podcasts are brilliant, long run ones that aren't sponsored. Listen to those.
Yeah, official running podcasts of the Nazen Fish and Chip Shop.
Yeah, I love that. That's got a ring to it. So when you're in there tonight, why don't you drop that in?
Do you reckon? So I'll ring them up now, shall I? Put the order in.
Battered sausage chaser. It's got to be.
No tomato though.
No, you have to have the tomato. Right, guys, we're going to start a poll, right? Can you email in? We're going to start this on a poll, or tag me on Instagram at 40_runs. Can you tell us if you would have the tomato in the chicken burger or not? This is really important, and we will come back to this next week. Again, it's a ciabatta bread. Al, this doesn't count you, right? But you have the ciabatta bread. You have the chicken escalope. You go lettuce. You go tomato. You go cheese, but like the burger cheese, and then you go cool mayo in. With a cheeky battered sausage chaser. Now, what Toby's saying is that you take out the tomato. Now, the reason you have the tomato is because the tomato cools down the into the burger and makes the mayonnaise runny, and it goes down all over your face, right? And that's part of the process of enjoying the burger. So,
and it's one of your 5 a day.
Yeah,
and tomatoes are high in antioxidant lycopenes.
There you go.
And a good source of vitamin C, potassium, folate, and vitamin K.
So we're starting to
say that. I don't eat the tomato. I just have it separate.
No, you have it in the burger. So we'll let the viewers decide. You please email. What's the email address?
We're wrong. I'm not putting the comments up.
What's the email, Wilco?
Longrunshow@gmail.com.
Right, email us in. You could just put in the subject tomato, no tomato, and we'll count that as a vote, and we will let you know next week. And whoever loses has to go and have the burger like that. Although technically I'm not allowed to. Wilco, you might have to have it. But either way, we're gonna do it, and let us know. Or tag me on Insta.
Yeah, I'll have yours, mate.
Yeah, you can have mine. He's blind.
I'm sure we'll get loads of comments, and please send us your emails and your observations, or write on the Facebook about your mileage fees, because we're running a little bit short of time now. So we're going to try and wind things up now, I think.
Right, well, hang on. We had 2 questions. Al, did you write them down?
Yes, of course.
Right. So first, hang on. No, wait.
Hold on. You just asked me for the questions.
Right. No. Wait, I've got an idea. I've had another brilliant idea.
Oh, yeah.
Firstly, JBS, mad love for the super chat, as always, supporting us. We love you. Second, is I reckon those questions, we take them and we put them at the front of next week's show.
Oh, good idea.
Because it's not fair just to rush them, because otherwise it's not fair on those amazing people to who spent the time to tune in and put that on there. So yeah, I think we need to put them at the front of the show next week.
Okay.
After I've had another brilliant idea, and we've sorted out the poll.
So thanks ever so much for joining us again this week, everybody. Remember that if you can't be here on at 7 o'clock on a Friday on YouTube or Facebook, you can download us wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify and Apple and all sorts of other places. So yeah, look out for us. We're here every week, and we try and bring a little bit of light entertainment to you for the start of your weekend. Enjoy your running this weekend, and we wish you all the best. Stay safe, and we shall see you next week at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Guys.
Don't have titles, Toad.